Hey, coming up on today's podcast, we have a plethora of information for you about SEMA. We got a little Nikola news. Got some Ford F-150 Lightning news. Got a mailbag to pull some stories out of. And speaking of bags, we told you how you could use a specific Apple product for luggage, and we're going to get into all that right after this.
I got a pretty good dang old idea what's going on. I'll tell you what, man. It'll...
Hey, everybody, welcome into the podcast, a show for the masses and the non-masses, I guess, but we're here for everybody. Welcome in. Say hello to my good friend Keith and co-host over there. Friend and co-host Keith. Keith, I can't even get it right today.
I'm home.
Oh, yes. Oh, boy, good to be back, man. Just good to be here. Clark.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Yeah. Like we've joked before many times, this is Jay and my scheduled time to hang out. So
it's therapy.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for making us part of your lives on a regular basis. And we appreciate it very much.
I got nothing but big thanks for all that. And if you're subscribed to our podcast, thank you. If you're not, make ssure you go to partscounterguru.com and hit the podcast link button. Make sure you're there and subscribe. We're on every platform, Spotify, Google, Apple, you name it, we're there. And there will be some video segments that no doubt will come out of this podcast. So make sure you run on over to youtube.com/partscountergurus. Hit that subscribe button, turn it from red to gray, and make sure you hit that bell for the notifications so you know when they come out. So,
make it so.
Wow. Got some good information today.
Hey, are you you watching any other? Oh man, this is weird. Like,
Star Trek. There's a new one that I saw.
Strange
something.
New Worlds. Now,
New Worlds.
I haven't seen it. Yet. But
what?
I'm just saying. Like, I'm not trying to make a big deal of this or anything. But Rebecca Romaine used to be Stamos. Is in that. I'm just saying.
Okay, I must watch now. I said something to my wife about that after we watched the latest Picard, which, by the way, this last episode of Picard, which is episode 8, was amazing.
You're ahead of me. Just fair warning.
Okay, I'm leaving it at that, but you're going to really enjoy it. It's getting better and better with every episode. But after we stopped. What's the other one that comes on right after it, or it runs into it?
I have streaming, so I don't.
Well, no, it's streaming as well. It's on the Paramount Plus app. Streaming app.
Well, Discovery is the
Discovery. That's it.
Yeah,
I haven't started watching it. They're like 2 seasons in, right?
Oh no, I think it's 4 seasons. It started in 2017. Yeah.
Holy cow! So I got a lot of catching up to do. Anyway,
you're not going to be able to put it down. I'm going to go ahead and warn you right now.
Mm-hmm. That's a binger.
You'll get into the first one, the first episode, which is like a 2-parter. It's the pilot. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, this is interesting, but I'm not sort of seeing what Keith saw. And then you're going to watch by the end of the second episode, you're going to be like, oh, hell yeah, let's go.
Right. I'm sure I will be. I'm never disappointed with any of that stuff anyway, and you never steer me in the wrong direction with that stuff. Plus, I'm a Trekkie anyway. But, we were watching it the other day, like I said, just to get so we could get ahead of it because we have some family coming in to visit, so we're not going to be able to have our normal routine. But then I mentioned to her about that. We got to start watching it. She says, well, let's just kind of wait until the fall when things. I'm like, football comes on in the fall. What are you talking
can't.
about?
This is like, you got it. You can't, dude. You got it. Yeah.
So
it's that good.
I'll have to check that out. And then, of course, now the new one, Strange New Worlds, is coming out. So I'm pretty stoked for that one as well. So we'll get it, and we'll dedicate a podcast specifically to our Trekkie nerdism.
Everybody's kind of positioning their own corner of the streaming world. Like, Disney has the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Paramount now has gone all in on Star Trek. They got 3 or 4 shows. They've got all the, like, Voyager, all the original, TNG, The Next Generation.
I love all that stuff, yes.
And that's on Paramount, okay? And then you got Hulu's got their own proprietary. Netflix is the one that kind of fell asleep at the wheel,
That's why they're raising prices.
HBO's got
and losing streamers.
HBO's got the DC universe, the Batman movie that just came out, all the like DC superheroes, and they've got some interesting TV shows that I'm into. Just they're a little dark, but they're good. And then you got Apple, right? Apple's got Snoopy, but then they've got Apple just went out and got all the heavy hitters, right? Like Ted Lasso is just amazing. Like that's a great show. We banged through that one real quick, man, and just I'm like waiting for the next season to come out on that. Like I cannot wait. I mean, the cast for that show, that series, is just spot on, perfect for what it is. I think I'm gonna have to pull out now. I'll give you guys a little bit of a spoiler alert. I think this happened in season 2 of Ted Lasso. So if you're at all concerned about you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, you just turn the volume down for about 20 seconds here. I think I'm going to have to pull out, I'm going to have to do a lead tasso to my Little League team. You know the one where he, because it's one of the best teams that I've ever coached. And they're doing this thing where they're like, they don't have to try.
Yeah. Like
they just show up and they're just goofing off. And you know what happens when you do that, right? Like that gets like, dangerous. Like teams that have not won any games this season start threatening to win the ball game.
Absolutely. And you got to be careful. So you say you have a really good team this year, huh?
They're great attitudes, man. You can draft for ability, but the one thing that it's very difficult to pick kids based on their attitudes if you don't know them. Now, kids that I've coached before, you know their attitudes, but there's always a group of kids that are new. Right, moved here, whatever, and there's always several dozen of those, and you've got to tread that water carefully because I've had weird deals with parents where I had a guy one year, and he was like, "Hey man, why don't you start my kid at shortstop more?" And I was like, "Your kid that's played a total of 3 games ever in Little League, and you think he should be the star defensive player of the team? 3 games?
Yeah, we're trying to win here."
And well, it's not even about winning. I don't want the kid getting hurt.
Well, yeah, I get that too. And the other thing is that it takes time to develop skills, and but a lot of it is on the individual child as well, the kid. So
if they want to do the work, if they're going to push themselves, or you get the other ones that we've had before, where they're flying the bird to the coach, and it's fun, man. It's
well. We need more people like you out there, Keith, because, and I commend you for that. That takes, you're raising your own family.
Just like I tell the parents, man, you want me to scream at your kids for a couple hours and make them run while I have snacks at the end?
Hey, bring them on. Yeah. Well, it's a life lesson, man. And I think that you're you're very well suited for that. It's hard developing children, man. I mean, you know that you're raising your own family. I've raised 2 myself, and it's hard. You never know. You just hope something sticks, man.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the compliment, Jay. I appreciate that. We the coaches have a thing going on. We all know it's sort of an unspoken. You don't coach your own kid. Like if your kid has why am I not batting first, or why am I not pitching, or why am I? It's like, go talk to one of the other coaches, right?
Sure.
The coach's kid never wants to listen to his own dad.
Yeah, I remember those days when I was on Little League. Yeah, I never wanted to listen to my dad, even when he wasn't coaching. So there you go. I really never wanted to listen to it, but now I do. It's that hindsight thing. Isn't that the old story? Like when you gotten older and stuff. The old saying is, "Isn't it amazing? The older you get, the smarter your parents become."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's true, man. I mean, for reasons we know, but it is what it is. But anyway, so great. Glad you're having good time with your off time coaching Little League baseball. That's great. It's the heart of the season. Things are on fire in Major League Baseball right now.
I think I do more heavy drinking this time of year than ever. Parents, man. It's yeah. Okay, but you were I digress.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of year where Major League Baseball is starting to get really exciting. You're starting to see what the pitching core for most of these teams are going to do. Some of the strategies are starting to kind of shape up, and I'm excited for the season. I'm a Braves fan. You knew that. I know you're a St. Louis fan.
Yeah.
But living up in the Pacific Northwest, I have become a Mariner fan, and the Mariners look like they have some potential this season. So we shall see.
If you got an hour to kill, go on Netflix and watch The Battered Bastards of Baseball.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
It's Pacific Northwest based. Kurt Russell. It's Kurt Russell's in it.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Wow, Kurt
It's not that long.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit of let's talk SEMA real quick.
Okay.
Wanted to let everybody know, and this is part of our news segment, guys. That we always live. It's part of our news segment that we always like to kind of get into some interesting stories for you guys. We have a few, but we also, not that they're interesting or interesting, however you would like to pronounce that. Stories, it more or less informative for our industry, and Keith and I go through and we'll pick news topics and agree on them. And we felt that right now it's appropriate because we are big fans of SEMA. It's one of our favorite things to do every year. It's going to be happening November 1 through 4 this year in Las Vegas at the convention center, Las Vegas Convention Center.
All right, now wait a minute. I have an important point of clarification here.
Okay.
Because you said something to me, and I listened. I sometimes do that, and you said you're gonna have to get there on Halloween.
Yeah.
And so the actual first day of the show
is November 1.
Okay. Wasn't that the same as last year? Or was it like the second? It was the second. Yeah, it was the second.
It was the second. Yeah,
so
or something like that,
they do the kickoff the night before, which will be Halloween. And we typically get in you kind of have to, like, you don't want to be coming in the morning of the first day of the show, getting off a plane and trying to get all not as media.
Right.
You got to get all your stuff set up. You got to line up what stories you're going to do, where you're going to go, and all that. So we will be there on Halloween.
Yes,
right?
we will. We will be.
I think we need to figure out, because this is a once every 6 years, because you got leap year in there, right? Once every 6 years thing.
Right.
Halloween.
Correct.
Happens right while we're in Vegas. We have got to do something like live stream or.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And I was going to make a mention to you when we have our business meeting on this, which, by the way, everybody, welcome into our world and our conversation here that we're currently having on our podcast, which is known as The Counter Show. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much. We're growing exponentially. If you aren't subscribed and you just happen to, stumble upon us, thank you for listening, and please subscribe. But we go to Vegas every year and we have these fun things. So I think as part of our next agenda, our meeting, we should focus on what day we're going to get in. My recommendation is we get in the day before we normally do, so that we can work through all of the bugs. That way we're set in place on Halloween.
Yeah, I got to get the the costume out of the costume vault, and that takes
I say we go as some Star Wars.
Rick and Morty. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. You guys, I want to hear some comments. Now it's
What should Keith and Jay dress up as in costume
for Halloween? Right.
For Halloween in Las Vegas.
So okay, but you were about to make a point about so I stopped you at the show starts November 1st. Okay.
Starts November 1, and we will be there. We're excited about it, and what we do know is that they have already started to take registrations from exhibitors as well as media personnel, and we are going to be signing up for that again, getting our credentials and getting ready for that show. So stay tuned, everybody, as information becomes available of who might be showing up, what exciting things might be there. But it's SEMA time in Vegas, guys, and we're going to continue to bring you the information as it comes. And what we turned up, though, here's what's interesting about this particular piece of news. You found this, I think, or did I find it? You found it, I believe. Apparently, Ford and Honda, as it was reported, and you're right, the headline for this story is just really kind of deceiving.
Well, it was basically like Ford's pulled out of SEMA or something like that.
And
right?
Honda and Ford.
And
two big
it was
players.
Like, come on, man. I mean, I know it's clickbait, but that's a big deal. So,
right.
So, okay, everybody, let me frame this for you. It would be easier if you go back and you watch. We have a SEMA playlist. It's at the end of every video that we've released in the past 3 months is that SEMA playlist. Mm-hmm. You can pretty much look at just go look at one of the Ford, like Bronco or the Illuminator or whatever, and look at the amount of space that Ford takes up at SEMA.
The presence that they command.
I mean, probably the biggest presence there.
I think so.
I mean, if you factor in the whole outdoor thing they did this time with the Broncos, right?
The Broncos, then they participated in the Hoonigan side of that as well.
They had the Mustang Drift.
They had the Mustang, all that stuff. Absolutely. You had Bronco Mountain, you had the Mustang Drift experience, and then the Hoonigan experience, all that stuff out in the parking lot. And so where we're going with this, guys, is Ford and Honda both made an announcement that they are not going to be they will be at the show, but they will not be at that level. Ford explained that in their decision to do this, they said that they are now refining their approach to the annual SEMA show to better reach and highlight how customers can personalize their Ford vehicles today and tomorrow. Our new approach showcases our winning portfolio of cars, trucks, and SUVs and the comprehensive catalog of Ford performance parts and accessories that customers can purchase online from their local Ford dealer. They go on to say that they'll still have a presence there, but instead of our traditional displays, which, guys, if you go back and watch all of our previous years in November, you can go November 2019, 2020, of course, was virtual, and in 2021, last year, tons of videos, and like Keith said, it's in the SEMA playlist. You'll see how big of a presence those guys had there. But instead of their traditional displays, they look forward to showcasing their winning portfolio of vehicles in select displays at the show and digitally online, and they will share more details closer to SEMA. Now, Keith and I will do our due diligence. We will also share this information with you, our listeners, as this information becomes available. And be prepared, because whatever is there, guarantee you the Parts Counter Gurus, Keith and I, will be covering that baby. As hopefully, do you think maybe Jay Leno might just show up in one of their smaller booths? Maybe
I don't think he can stay away. Like, he's there every year for somebody.
He'll probably be there, period, for any reason. But let me this is something that was also said due to a change in corporate strategy. Ford and Honda will not be displaying at the 2022 SEMA show. Now, Honda says, they didn't mention anything about Acura, so we'll see if Acura's there, which would be cool to see if that 2023, what is it, an NSX is supposed to be potentially there. I would love to see that if it is, and if it is, again, we'll bring it to you. And again, SEMA goes on to say that they appreciate their long-time support, and while many of us are going to miss their participation at this year's show, we're excited to see the show take on a new look in Central Hall. SEMA will continue to collaborate with both Ford and Honda on various SEMA programs, such as tech transfer and measuring sessions in 2022 and beyond. So there you go.
All right, so I think I'm reading in between the lines here. Let me see if I can translate this for our audience. First of all, the Honda thing is less of a big deal because Honda was back in a corner last year. They didn't have a very big booth. They tried to focus on the overlanding capabilities of a couple of their vehicles.
Smart.
Because that's where it's at SEMA. Everybody, the overland crowd is huge. But it was kind of like not, I mean, we did go back there, but at some point we were kind of like, well, I guess we ought to, at least just say we visited Honda. It's just not that big of a. I don't think it'll be missed as much as Ford will. No.
I don't either.
Ford
I
is
agree.
huge. They're not just right smack dab in the middle of the show floor. They were also, like we said, outside in various places.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Not only that, though. I mean, remember the video? We shot a video, guys. Go check it out on our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/Parks County Gurus. And it was the Broncos of SEMA that we shot, where we went around and pointed out every single Bronco, full-size Bronco that we possibly could, and still didn't cover all of them. But I think we were up to around 50. Weren't we, or something like that? Or
it was more than that. It was in the 70s,
it more than that?
I think. Yeah.
But it was so cool. But so that's how big of a presence Ford has. And then in 2019, when the Bronco had not really been revealed yet, Keith and I were looking around at all the restored Ford Broncos that were sponsored by Ford as well.
Right.
And Jay Leno had revealed an old vintage Ford Bronco at that show, which kind of teased. If you'll go back and listen to that podcast and or any of those videos, Keith and I, we thought we got the clues. The clues were being dropped that Bronco was going to look like the old Bronco. It was going to pay homage to it, and it did. So that was pretty cool for that. Well, I'm with you. I wonder what they'll replace outside with. I mean, the kiddie rides. I like to call them the kiddie rides. That's the adult rides that were out there. Wonder what they will replace that with.
There has been a scramble, and there may still be one going on. You can bet on that.
Right.
So here's what I think. I think even though SEMA is huge, the expense of being an exhibitor is astronomical, especially for somebody like Ford, who takes up so much space. And Ford is looking at that marketing budget that they're spending at SEMA every year, and they're going, we can spend this elsewhere. But that's basically what they're saying in that press release. We can spend this money elsewhere and get more results, more focused results. How many cars do you think are sold at SEMA? Like, how many, because a vendor is there, automobiles? Now, I'm not talking about aftermarket accessories. I'm talking about Ford and GM selling vehicles because they were at SEMA.
No, I don't think so. I just don't. I don't think that was. If anything, if you recall any of the shows that we've attended and any of the shows that I've attended years prior to us starting this show, it was always about what else can we sell you once you've purchased our vehicle. So the add-ons, the Ford accessories, which was huge. We featured a video on that last year,
and they may continue to do that, right?
I think they will. I think that's I think that's the sector that they're going to focus on at that show, because that really is what that show is. So
data mining is huge nowadays. Data mining is basically you know, like Jay jokes, like you go online and you buy diapers, and then, these companies grab your information and they then market to you, and they sell your information to other companies about your interests. This is why, the EU tried to pass a law. Now we all have these cookie notices on websites, and they're basically telling you they're grabbing all your information. And they can use third-party trackers to follow you around, Jay. Like if you go to Ford.com, they can continue to follow you after you leave Ford's website to see where else you go and what else you buy.
That was just so wrong.
Now this isn't a Ford thing. I'm not trying to hang this on Ford, right?
No, it's available information, and they're going to take advantage of it while they can. I can't blame them. It helps them.
Ford they're going to do what Apple did a decade and a half ago. They're going, hey man, there used to be a thing called Macworld. Do you remember Macworld? Big expo in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they would basically jam all of their big press release events into that one yearly event. Mm-hmm. And Steve Jobs was still around, and at some point he went, we're not doing this anymore. They built their own media relations center. They announce what they want, when they want to the public. Think about it. How many times have you and I come on here on this very program and talked about, did you see the latest Ford, like Jim Farley doing some media event, right?
Yes. that happened like a week ago, where
Yeah.
we're going to get into that a little bit later on here in the show.
Yeah.
So make sure you stay tuned.
So
to
why
that.
then spend all the money at SEMA because it's a captive audience? Those people are there, and yes, SEMA is big, but you're going to reach way more people through your online. I mean, if the COVID lockdowns taught us nothing else, it's that we have an online audience that we can reach without ever leaving our homes, right?
Yes. I think what you're going to see, and I'm going to say it here first, you can mark this down. We'll revisit it with Bert maybe in a couple of years.
I hate to say I told you so.
But the SEMA show itself has to change with the changing times. And they're going to have to figure out ways to keep that robust for the exhibitors.
Right.
And exhibitors are learning they can create content. They can stream live without having to fly a large group of people and equipment and product to these shows. My thought on this is that how SEMA may rectify any issues that they could potentially have from a Ford pulling out or a GM pulling out would be allowing other than invite only to the show and charge a fee to get in to recoup some of the financial losses. Now, PRI did that last year. For the first time in the performance racing industry's show history.
And coincidentally, they just opened a new
That's
center.
right.
Yeah. I'm sure those weren't related. Go ahead.
Not at all. But the reason why they did this is because of the financial losses that they took by not having that show during the pandemic. So they offered up memberships, levels of memberships, which I became a PRI member. Now, I was a PRI member by default because I belonged to an organization that was. But once you are no longer with an organization that exhibits, the only way in is through membership. And so I chose to join because I love the performance racing industry show. I love what they do for that sector of our industry. It's very important. SEMA is also obviously in charge, or they govern. They are the governing body for the performance racing industry, I do believe. So they're connected. And I do believe that SEMA will learn something from PRI, which is buying memberships, have a membership-only day, or allowing people to have levels of membership, which gets you into specific areas, almost like Disney World back in the day, where you could only get on certain rides with the A tickets. But boy, if you bought the E tickets, man, you were getting on Space Mountain and all this other stuff, right? So, yeah, the change is obvious with SEMA right now, and I think Ford has to recognize their own challenges ahead of them, but they also recognize other things that they can focus their capital on. Again, live streaming events. Yeah. They can do this anytime. They can have a SEMA show any day of the week that they want to from their headquarters.
You know what I think is a win-win? Mm-hmm. I think if I'm on the board of SEMA, right, and I'm trying to solve this problem, because this won't be the last time they have to deal with a situation like this. Ford and Honda are just the two big ones right now. This is what I think I do. I focus more on the trend of social media, and I start having live stream events and celebrity mix-ups and getting social media personalities, maybe like us, or you get like an Adam Carolla, or you get, Jay Leno, or you get... even some of the younger car live streamers out there like Stradman or whatever, right? And you get them at those events, and you're serving both audiences. You're serving the in-person crowd that's there to look, feel, and touch, and you're serving the in this case, the YouTube crowd that wants to see what it's like to take a ride in that Bronco with a monster truck driver like Todd. But see, nobody live stream. I mean, we covered that stuff, but and maybe if SEMA's listening, this is an opportunity for us to work together with them, because if you don't do this, the show will die. It's just a matter of time. You've got to get that. You've got to meet the audience where they are, and right now they are on social media.
Yes,
right?
That absolutely correct, Keith. Well said. I think that that's why you're also seeing PRI and SEMA both asking for content creators to come in.
Yeah.
And they feature you. So it's a changing environment in the world of SEMA and performance racing industry, more geared towards the online presence, and it works.
I mean, and they've got some spin-off TV shows, that they do. Mm-hmm. Do some of that stuff there. I mean, it's hard to pull all that off in a week, but
right.
Do what you can. Film an episode. Do something. Right.
Yes. And speaking of the SEMA board of directors that you had just mentioned, there is an election that is coming up for new board members. Someone who I've known for a while. I don't have a personal relationship with him. However, I have done business with Norris Marshall, who is the owner of Blueprint Engines. And this guy is very knowledgeable, obviously, and has just done so much for the production engine rebuilding or engine business in general, and has a lot to offer the SEMA organization. So if you're able to vote, make sure you cast your vote for Norris, and good luck with that.
You have to be a member, right? You have to be a SEMA member to vote. Okay.
Yes. You do.
So there you go. So you folks out there that are members of SEMA, consider that. I looked at the competition there, and casting a vote for Norris would not be a bad choice.
No, not at all. And I'd like to give a thanks to Chuck Lynch for giving us all the information on that. And Chuck Lynch, if anybody knows Norris well, it's definitely Chuck over at AERA, and he is a huge fan of Norris as well as a good friend of his. So good luck to you, Norris. Wish you well with that. So SEMA will be for the better with you. So there you go. On to other interesting news here. I wanted to talk about yeah. We had I'm going to get into this with this did you hear about this, Keith? This poor guy. He drove. Did you hear about it?
You talking about the Ford?
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I read what you sent me, but I hadn't heard about it before then.
Yeah. So apparently, a man in Florida. He had just purchased this thing. It's a 2006 Heritage Edition GT. He purchased this thing for, I think he paid $704,000 for this thing at Barrett Jackson this year, like back in April. And this was in Boca Raton, Florida, by the way. And again, I have to say this just because this is no lie, but only in Florida.
Yeah.
No,
it happens more in Florida, but it happens other places too.
It's Florida, Texas, and California.
Yeah,
man.
those are the hotbeds of
Right. Yeah.
Now let's be, but I want to be clear on something here.
Yes.
This looks like a GT40.
It is.
So to be clear, the Ford GT was the newer, the more recent release. They didn't go back to the GT40 name. They just called it the Ford GT. Right. This one has that famous orange and powder blue color scheme from Gulf Oil. Right?
Yeah, it's the Heritage Edition, though. It's a 2006 model. It's
then it is a GT. It's not a GT40.
It is a GT.
Okay.
It is a Heritage Edition.
But it looks, because of that color scheme, it looks like the GT40.
Right.
Okay.
It's a Heritage Edition. Yeah, they wanted to pay homage to the so you're good keen eye there, my friend. You're absolutely correct about that, but it is paying homage to the old one, so it's newer. But the guy he's a 50-year-old guy. His name is Robert Girani. Told cops he lost control after downshifting while leaving his housing development around 6 p.m. He said it led to a head-on collision with a palm tree. Ugh.
He says he was going 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, and then he's changed his story a couple times. He said that the crash was caused by, he did tell him that it was caused by inexperience with a manual transmission. Come on, you don't buy one of these. Now, this is, if it's the
GT, it's a paddle shifter.
It doesn't matter. It's easier, in my opinion. Have you paddle shifted before?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how you lose control of the steering wheel because of. I guess it's possible. If you take your hands off the wheel to do.
He said there were several issues, and we'll get into some of those he points out. But he did say he goes, I don't want people to think I was racing at 90 miles per hour. I was actually going only 35. And if he was going 90, the damage would have been much, much more extensive than what it is. So I could definitely see it being a lower speed impact crash, but it was enough to cause airbags to go off and that sort of stuff. But he was issued a citation for driving with a suspended license and a warning for operating an unregistered vehicle. The 50-year-old claims his license suspension was due to an unrelated Department of Motor Vehicles clerical error. This guy had an excuse for everything, by the way.
Yeah.
Then later in the report, it wasn't downshifting. He was actually shifting into second. He said the road was a little muddy. The tires were not really that good. I personally think that I wouldn't call it inexperience with shifting. I would say that it's not knowing the vehicle well enough at the time, and he lit the back end up, and it unlocked traction, and he lost control and hit a palm tree.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I mean, come on.
You could be doing 35, but if you had the pedal down and it took you, a second and a half to get there, that's
yeah, come on, Robert.
You lit a rocket, right?
Yeah, you did. You let it go, and the ass end got around on you, and you lost control, and you're trying to correct, and boom, you hit a palm tree. And guess what? The palm tree is still there, looking good. Got a little ding in it, a little flesh wound.
Yeah.
It'll survive.
I see that. So, yeah.
I would like to officially call this guy the newest member to our world's stupidest attempts to drive an exotic vehicle.
Yeah.
Dude, you deserve that trophy. So good luck to you, and hope that $704,000 was good to you. Oh,
I can see the Carfax now, right?
Right. Has it ever been wrecked?
No.
No. Well, yeah, because he's lied about everything else, it appears. So there you go. All right. This one is your baby. I love this. I absolutely love this little news story. Live.
All right.
Okay. Luggage. Has to do with luggage,
okay.
Keith.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you in?
Yeah.
So Keith is going to... He found this and told me about it, and this is this guy, he wins the trophy.
Okay. So for a lot of reasons, right?
Absolutely, yes.
I feel like this guy has joined me in our club, because you're in this club too, and this is gonna sound so arrogant, but I don't mean it that way. The doing other people's jobs for them club.
Right.
And it's not that I want to. I really don't. Like, I wish that people would just, if I'm paying for something, they would do it and I wouldn't have to be involved. Mm-hmm. It's that, I get sucked into, it comes off the rails and I'm paying for it and I have to get in to try to get it back on the rails. So, okay. We've done some videos on Apple AirTags. If you haven't seen them yet, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/PartsCounterGurus. If you're watching this on that side, you can go back into our channel. I might put a link to it here. We did an AirTag review. I did it with Side Shot. These are cool. We did a couple things with them. We hid one in Jay's car. Jay didn't have any AirTags, and he's like, hey, man, you tracking me? And we kind of saw what would happen. And then we put Side Shot on a plane with one that has Wi-Fi, and I was able to track his flight fairly accurately. It wasn't perfect, but it was close, okay? And there's been all kinds of stories that we've done on this program about people hiding these AirTags in new vehicles and whatnot and tracking other people. And look, man, when we went to Disney World, Jay, I put AirTags on our luggage that we checked at the airlines.
Smart
and
move.
then when we got into the hotels and checked in, I popped the AirTags off and I put them in our backpacks. If we were going to carry backpacks in the park, I hit them down in the back just in case, right? Like you get this left on a ride, or you forget it when you're sitting down to eat and you get up and leave or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Makes
and
sense.
They're pretty accurate, and these AirTags are about $30. You can replace the batteries in them, unlike some of the other stuff like Tile. And just the beauty of the Apple side of them is that there are so many users with iPhones, and that becomes your search network if you ever lose it. That it really is the best. Like I did. So I'm not sure if I even want to release this video or not, but I had a wallet tracker as a credit card. Mm-hmm. And just to see what would happen, I turned it on, marked it as lost, and returned it to Amazon. Okay? And it disappeared after I dropped it off at the return facility. It disappeared for almost a month. Okay? Now, I'm here in Nashville, right? Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. A month later, and I'd given up. I'm like, well, I was going to turn this into a video, and we were going to track it every day and all that. A month later, I get a ping. And this was a Pebble, was the brand. And it said, your lost item has been found. It's in Kent, Washington.
How about that?
So for the next week and a half, I got pings very close to where you are of where this thing was. And I still can't figure out to this day, like, if it was a resale shop or if somebody else, like, if it got returned and somebody else bought it used, or I don't know. And then it just, I don't know if the battery ran out or what. It just stopped reporting. AirTags, completely different story. Like, the minute those things, you're probably not going to go an hour or two without getting a ping off of it.
Right.
Because there's so many people with iPhones, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so to this story...
iPads, whatever.
Whatever, and if you're, anything with iOS, that's right.
Even if it's close to someone with an iOS, anywhere in the close proximity, it'll ping off that.
Okay.
So by the way, back in August of 21 is when we did the AirTag chase.
Okay, there you go.
From In the Air when Sideshot was the participant for the luggage. Yeah, flew home with it. Yeah, August of 21. Catch that video, guys.
He talked his mom into paying for Wi-Fi on the flight. He was like, "We got to track. I gotta have it, Mom. Like, so we can, track. Never mind the fact that other people's iPhones would have done the tracking for him, but
I miss our little guru. We need to get him back on. I'm
gonna change his name to Con Job. Anyway, okay. So this guy put some AirTags in his luggage. They were in South Africa, flying home to the UK. This was last month in April, and they did a couple stopovers. They were in Abu Dhabi. They went to Frankfurt. Okay, and
the airline is Aer Lingus, by the way.
Okay, and thank you. And they had to change their route. There was some health issues or whatever, and all of that not necessarily unusual. That stuff happens, right? But didn't get all of his luggage when they eventually got home. And the airline basically said, it's lost. We're working on it. We'll get it back to you. And the guy pulled open Apple's Find My app, and he basically started tracking his luggage. And as the story goes, he had a couple different conversations with the airline. Each time, I think emails were exchanged, and the airline responded. They were trying to help him out, but never produced his luggage. So at some point, this guy, Jay, had just had enough. And he's like, I'm looking at where they are right here. So he made a PowerPoint presentation, took screenshots of the locations of the luggage. And they're pretty specific.
Did you watch the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Is there a way that we can add a link to this story or whatever?
I will see what I can do.
Yeah, because, guys, I'm telling you, it's worth getting over to our podcast specifically just to watch this. Man, it's hilarious. This guy, he does a fantastic job.
Yeah. So he reached out to the police, told them the bags were stolen. I mean, at this point, if it's weeks go by and you don't have your stuff back, I would probably do the same things. And I think he either tweeted at the airline or somehow publicly tagged them and connected them with his presentation, and we don't know the outcome yet. As of the last I checked, he hasn't gotten his bags back, but
yes,
honestly, you call the police and you give them the location and you go get my bags, man. Here's a picture of them.
The tweet was he called him out and says, "Hi, Aer Lingus. Perhaps a PowerPoint presentation on the journey you've sent my lost or stolen bag on will help. I've told you multiple times where it is, and you're doing nothing about it. This has been a shocking experience with you. And then he uploaded his PowerPoint presentation. And again, it's absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
I feel for the guy that he's had to go through this, but if he has the technology to present in a PowerPoint presentation how this all went down and tell you exactly where it's at, and it's not his house,
Yeah.
but he's showing you exactly where it's at, and you still don't have his luggage, shame on you, Aer Lingus, man.
Well, and, you know, this is one of the good uses of social media. Various news organizations have picked up this story and run with it. And Microsoft tweeted back at him and said, we're giving you PowerPoints for this presentation, because PowerPoint is a Microsoft Office product. And, you know, they basically gave him an attaboy for his work with PowerPoint.
Right. This is awesome. And now, so because of situations like this, and you mentioned that I've been through this. I lost my luggage going and coming from China once, and was not fun. Had no way of tracking it other than relying on the airline to do their due diligence, but I finally got it. But this is why there are companies out there that you just you give them your luggage, you take it to their place. It's like a UPS, but it's just for luggage. And it ships it for you. That way, you're pretty much guaranteed not to get lost, and it's better track. But
right.
People like luggage free, ship go, lugless, that sort of stuff. And now there's even luggage called Monos. It's the Apple suitcases.
Yeah. Where you
know
could,
this.
Yeah.
So thank you, airlines, for losing luggage. And out of that, innovation comes.
Yeah, necessity.
Necessity,
right.
Exactly,
Mother
right?
of
So
all
here we
invention,
are.
right?
We have more. Right. This goes back to, do we have to invent a new
Now,
something for the lack of
let me ask you a
involvement by
question,
people?
because
Sure.
this is exactly the point that I wanted to bring. And leave us a comment, everyone. Let us know what your thoughts are. I'll pose this question to you, Jay.
Okay.
Let's say that Apple partnered with the airlines or somebody. I mean, there's various tracker solutions out there. The AirTag thing is just so inexpensive, but you got to change batteries in them every year and all that. And, you know, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that, you know, when you check your luggage at the counter and they slap that tag on it that it has their code and all that,
Yes.
you know, and like they come up with some sort of a radio frequency tag or whatever that they just embed in that, okay? And let's say it costs you, like they add a $20 fee per bag to be able to do that, but you're going to know exactly where that bag is at all times.
Because I travel internationally,
Yeah.
that's typically the only times I would check my bags.
And,
Absolutely.
And you could go into their app, like
Yes.
the Southwest or whoever,
Yep.
and it would be like, check my luggage, and you could see that like it was still at the airport and you weren't or whatever,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Would it be worth it? Would you pay the extra money
Yes.
to help the airlines solve this problem?
100%. Yes, I would.
Okay.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so, but I think I would be expecting that the airlines would just hide the fees somewhere in the airfare. Like they may not be
Well,
as
of
transparent
course.
as, you know, they might not say like luggage locator fee.
I wouldn't think that it would be $20 per. I think that's excessive, but I mean,
12,
you're already
15.
as part of the bag
Yeah.
checking process. Add an additional $5 or $10
Yeah.
or whatever per
Right.
bag for that, or call it a technology fee or whatever.
Right.
Tracking technology fee. Sure. And aren't there couriers out there or freight lines or whatever that also have that type of technology?
Now usually it's LTL, like, so it's on tractor trailers. So Amazon does it on their vans, and some of the delivery couriers do it on their trucks, like FedEx, UPS. You know, but they don't. You know, UPS. I've got notifications like where I can see occasionally where the driver is, but not like minute by minute. Okay.
Right.
But you know, if we as the customer can see that, or the recipient, the the company itself, corporate, has to be able to have the location of that vehicle at all times. Now, each package inside that vehicle, I don't think we're there yet from a technology standpoint, because they've got to be able to embed it in a label and make it cost effective. But on an airline, for sure, man. I mean,
yeah, well, they're already doing like corrugated packaging that has that in it. Some of them are.
Usually it's bigger stuff, though.
Yeah, and then I think there's even some tape, like some shipping tape that has like some sort of metallic device or something in it that you scan it, and I don't know. There's so much stuff out there, technology available if we just utilize it and use it. But yeah, this was that's an eye opener for some people, man.
Right.
I think that again, we have said to you guys out there all along the many uses of an AirTag, Apple AirTag. Go check out our video, and then go check out the link on this PowerPoint presentation, and don't be that guy.
I mean, but as usual, this is why I'm just humbly asking you guys. We did this. What did you say, Jay? Last August.
Yeah.
We tend to be ahead of the curve on this stuff. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you will get all these great content ideas for your stuff before they become mainstream. I'm not saying we broke this. Actually, I am saying we broke the Ford Illuminator story months before everybody else. But what? Who's counting, right?
Exactly. Ooh wee, man. All right, now for the beloved mailbag segment that we have. Mailbag. What's in the bag? Look, if you make it on this segment,
is it a badge of honor?
It's a badge of honor
in some way.
We appreciate. Right? We encourage you guys to leave comments. In fact, Keith is working on a voice messaging service on our website that we don't have up yet. We'll let you know as soon as it is, to where you can leave comments through an audio message, and we'll make sure you leave your name and all that sort of stuff, or that way we can bring you on the show. And when you get picked, there is some either inspiring comments that have been made or not so inspiring comments, and we want to tackle those. So thanks for your comments, everybody. And we're just going to dive right into this thing. We put out a video March of this year, 2022, end of March. I think it was like March 18 is when it came out. It was the new United States Postal Service mail truck will not be an EV. You know the story. The Postal Service is moving forward with their internal combustion engine version of the replacement of the Grumman LLV, which is made by Oshkosh Defense, and it's caused quite a stir in the industry, the mail industry as well. Employees have voiced their opinions. Ex-employees have voiced their opinions, and on and on and on. But we have this one individual, goes by the handle of Norse the Horse. How you doing, Norse the Horse? He says, as a mail carrier, all EVs wouldn't work because the infrastructure is just not in place. For example, at my office, there's already very little room. We would have nowhere to put charging stations. Also, if someone were to forget to plug the thing up the previous day, then we are down a vehicle. Also, battery life just isn't there. We are out on the route sometimes from sun up to sundown. No way they can last that long.
All right. Can we pick this apart?
Absolutely.
All right. What was the first point that he made?
First point was that we don't have the infrastructure. Go.
Okay. These mail Jeeps. Are we calling them Jeeps or mail trucks or what?
Let's call them...
what do you want to call them?
Let's call them mail vehicles.
Okay. Are they parking these on dirt lots behind the fairground? Do they have parking spots?
They should. Yes.
Okay.
They're not driving them home. This is not a patrol car.
not a
This
school
is not
bus?
It's not a cruiser or school bus.
All
Right.
Jay, have you ever seen? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. This is hardcore. I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer this one or not. Have you ever been to a Walmart or a grocery store? Why, there's one down the street from you.
Oh my goodness!
Now,
are you kidding me?
The EV charging that they apply in those locations, right? They build a whole new infrastructure like a Carvana hotel, and they use it to power the cars, right?
No.
It's just a parking spot, man, with a pole on it, right?
Yes.
So
okay, where does that power come from? Perhaps
Space.
they're going to take Perhaps they're going to take the hamster off the wheel in the store and add the power grid there or something. I don't know. Maybe,
all you got to do is have. Do you have lights at your post office? You have electricity. You have to run power to the parking spots that you're already using to park those trucks in and put them on poles. It's not the It's not the huge undertaking, I don't think, that Norse is making it out to be, right?
Yeah, right. It's not.
All right.
Not doing your homework on what it takes to add a plug to your already existing power.
What was the other? Well, give me another one here.
Okay, there would be nowhere to put the charging stations, is what he says.
Yeah.
He goes, what if someone were to forget to plug the thing up the previous day?
Okay, well, what do you say to that? No, you go.
I say to this, okay, so we all have a job.
Yeah.
We all have specific tasks that we have to do in a day's time.
Right.
Some of us have to drive vehicles and are responsible for those vehicles when we drive them away from our office or our terminal. And there's protocol checklists that you go through on a daily basis. It's part of your job.
It's called adulting, man. You
Right.
do your
So-
checklist and you make sure it's done. And if you
Right.
got to plug the freaking thing in at night, it's no different than locking the doors when you leave. You add it to what if somebody forgets to lock the doors? Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, do you have a breakdown protocol if you go to work the next morning and your gas Jeep doesn't start? Like, do you just not work that day? I'm pretty sure no.
Exactly. I mean, just the bottom line is that this guy is coming up with so far, these are two you're not going to win with us.
Okay, let's have the next one.
Okay, this is the last one. Battery life just isn't there. We're out on the route sometimes from sun up to sundown. No way they can last that long.
Well, I'll honestly say that's his strongest point, although he's making the case that it's an hourly thing and not a distance thing. How long you're out on the route doesn't really matter. It's how far you go with it.
Exactly, and how much load you have on. All of those things factor into how that battery life will perform for you.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, are these
don't
guys
forget,
they're not doing 300 miles a day, right? Like on the routes, most of them in the urban areas are doing 20 miles.
Exactly. And let's face it, I know that, some of these deliveries are, you guys are out more often than you used to be, but you have specific individuals at the Postal Service that are running around the Amazon packages, that are running around the the department store stuff that might come through the U.S. Postal Service. That's just kind of how it works. So you set yourself up for success, and you designate specific vehicles for that. As far as the battery life itself goes, it won't last that long. Don't you get like a lunch break or something? I mean, surely you're not driving from sun up to sundown without taking a pee break or just going and relax. Everybody gets a break. So when you drive it back into the lot. Okay, let me ask you a question, Keith.
Yeah.
If I have an average electric vehicle, EV, battery electric vehicle.
Okay.
Range has been an issue, but we've come a long way. The average range now on most new vehicles are what?
300
Okay.
miles.
That's
US.
a lot of miles to cover
without a load.
Without a load in a small radius, right? It's a lot of miles, right? Okay, so let's just say for argument's sake that you happen to have a late lunch. You couldn't get lunch until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. You've been out on the road for, say, 8 hours, 9 hours, and you've covered 200 miles. Okay? If you do get your break and you get to come back to the office there, if you plug the vehicle into your designated parking spot that has the infrastructure to charge the vehicle, how long would it take to charge that?
Well, it wouldn't completely charge it, but it would give you enough to finish your route, and you're probably talking 20 minutes.
Hello?
Not to mention, government contracts can be made with all the other EV charging locations throughout the town, throughout the city, that if you didn't want to go back to have lunch, if you wanted to go to McDonald's or wherever, there's charging everywhere.
Safeway, Kroger, Publix.
It's everywhere. Walmart, it's everywhere.
Walmart has them. Ford dealership down here has them. Matter of fact, what is the app? There's an app out there.
Oh, there's multiple apps.
It's charging station finder.
Well, the easiest one is Google Maps. Like if you can put it in there and it'll show you. But there are specific apps.
I mean, it's kind of like pulling into a gas station, right? That you don't have a designated gas station at your place, right?
Right. Well, I don't. No,
so then you choose into your designated. You choose go to your designated place of just wherever you might go get gas.
Top it off, right?
Hey, I hear BP and Shell are adding charging stations to their gas stations. So
as
I think
are some states in the Rust Belt.
I think we have this one solved.
It's not that it's the whole it's never going to work thing. That argument died 5 years ago.
It really did. So Norse the Horse, thank you for that. We understand your concern. I just think that maybe you ought to be a little more open to change. However, it does sound like that you're not going to have to worry about it anyway, so there you go.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay. Your turn. Batter up.
Yeah, so I'm going to make this one quick. Now, I will say, guys, I love criticism. I try to qualify it. There's things that we get in the comments that are just so bizarre that you're like, yeah, there's no way that's real. But then there's some you get and you're like, oh, it's a good point. Like, thank you for, pointing that out. Could have done that differently or whatever. Like there was one, I'll give you an example, Jay, where you did the Hyundai seat panel repair and you get some guy going, well, that's going to break again because it's electric. So what you do is you just rip the whole seat out and you put a manual one in. Problem solved. Right? It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's not really a solution for most people. They just want to fix that plastic panel on their seat, right?
Exactly.
So we got a guy. I'm going to pull this up because I took his comments to heart because I wanted to see if maybe.
Well, I will preface that while you're finding that. I will say this, that Keith is absolutely correct. Keith and I always take everything very seriously when we put efforts into a DIY video. There are some times when we may miss something, and we welcome your comments for that, and we'll be glad to comment on it and adjust for that. But some of the stuff, it takes a little bit of paying attention to something, or just watching,
or not being drunk, stoned, or
whatever you're doing. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, so Jerry Calvert says, now I did a video on an RV King cellular booster. It does LTE. It does Wi-Fi signal boosting and cellular signal boosting. And it's multiple parts. One of them's designed to go on the roof of the RV. The other one goes inside the coach. And it's designed to basically help you stay connected in areas that have fringe coverage, okay? So Jerry says, okay, so I came up with a way to mount the roof portion to the roof of the RV without drilling holes. And there's nothing wrong with drilling holes in the roof of an RV if you know what you're doing, but you do introduce the possibility for more leaks if you put a hole in it. So if you can avoid drilling holes, I always prefer that as my first course of action. So what I did is I used some roof repair tape, which is I swear you could hang a 30-pound person to the wall, a small child with this stuff, and they couldn't get out of it. It's so sticky, right?
It's like grippers or
yeah, it
gaffer's
is,
tape.
man. I mean, it's like you better be careful when you put it down, because if you don't get it down right, you can't pull it back up and reset it. You can get it off, but you're gonna have to use like a solvent or heat gun or something like that, and it's just get it right the first time. So it's roof repair tape that's made to go over it's the same material that the roof is made of. So what I did is I used that adhesive to stick down the antenna that goes on the roof. Well, Jerry says he went by the mounting tape too quick to get the name of it before he moved on. So I thought, did I? Maybe I did. So I pulled the video up. Look, I'm gonna just see if I can put this in the video here, and let's see. All right, let me get to the spot here.
I watched that video, by the way, again after we saw this comment.
Yeah.
I'm just
okay. Now
dude.
I'm gonna give this guy. I'm gonna give this guy all the credibility, I'm gonna give him a fair chance here to make his point. Okay. So at 5 minutes and 43 seconds in, I show the product. Now I'm gonna start counting. Oh, we got an ad coming up. Hang on.
Oh, let it play. We need to keep getting paid, dude.
All right, now here we go. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can still see the name. 6, 7, 8, 9. Still see the name. 10, 11, 12, 13. Still see the name. Still see the box full. 14. Now it's out of shot.
Okay,
14 seconds, Jay. And that's not
seconds.
to mention that you can slow down YouTube or use the pause button.
Okay, what feature was that comes on videos that I'm not aware of?
It's two little straight up and down lines that looks like this. You click it and everything stops.
Oh, wow. Imagine that, where you can stop it and actually see a still picture.
14 seconds to pick a spot to hit that little secret pause button.
Oh, go back to sleep, man.
14 seconds.
That was a great video, by the way.
Thank you. I guarantee you, if I would have left it on there longer, people would have complained that I took too long.
Right. Like, because we're too slow when we try to explain things. We take too much time when we're showing you stuff. Oh, jeez.
14 seconds.
Okay. Well, thank you, dude, for pointing that out and how horribly terrible we are at pointing things out in the video.
I'll do better.
Please, Keith. You got to clean your act up, Al.
All right. Last one.
Okay. Last one. This is regarding our Ford Illuminator crate motor video that we did prior to the SEMA show in 2021. This came out in September of 2021. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do. It's an interesting video. That's over at youtube.com/Parks County Gurus. It's really good. We got a lot of comments on it. It's actually one of our best performing videos we've ever done, and it still continues to bring us some love. So thank you guys for watching that. So when this thing came out, we talked about it in that video that it can be used for many things. And then when we went to SEMA, Jay Leno, of course, at the Ford booth, reveals the all-electric Ford F100. All-electric that was using the Ford Illuminator motors, and then I think the interior was designed based and using all of the Mustang Mach-E interior, so it had all of the user interface and touchscreen.
We've got several videos where you get a full look at that truck on our channel. One was at SEMA, one was at PRI. Jay actually got to get in it at PRI.
Yes, absolutely. So now this comes from a comment that left by Ed Nolan. He says, "It's nice they are doing this. However, if there's no way to mount it in my classic car, the typical home garage DIYer like myself doesn't have the skills and tools to custom design mounting systems." Okay, before we go any further, can you please bring up the Boomhauer click, click, click thing?
You mean this one?
That one?
Yeah. You mean this one right here?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there, talk about www.com, you got them naked chicks on there, man, you go click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
What Boomhauer was saying there is that, Ed, you bring up a valid point. first of all, I don't know what your classic car is, but as with any customization, I think the word customization kind of, might ring to the there might need to be some sort of modifications done. And yes, you may not have the ability to do it at home.
There's some assumed knowledge there too. Let's not go
Right.
past that. Let's just pick a random car here. Let's say he's got a 57 Chevy. You want to go
okay.
Packard? Okay,
Let's go Packard. Yeah.
Okay. So, you're not going to find probably, if you have to replace the engine, because that's what we're talking about here, right, is engine replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Not valve adjustments, not a timing belt, not oil pan, not manifold, full engine replacement.
Conversion. This
Okay?
is-
If it's electric, yeah, a conversion.
Yep.
You're not going to find the original Packard engine to go back in there. And even if you could, you probably wouldn't do it because by today's standards, it's a dog. It's
Right.
way underpowered. You would put a crate engine in it to get all the benefits that modern technology affords you. Even an internal combustion engine, the modern engine would be the way to go. Why would you spend that much time and effort and money to go put the original? I mean, people are doing it with DeLoreans from the 80s all the time. You don't put back the original engine that was in them. You put something
No.
better in it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Old Corvettes, old Camaros, no different, right? So
Right.
this assumed knowledge that like you're just going to be able to walk into like what AutoZone and buy a crate motor and it's just going to drop right into the Packard.
Yeah.
Bullshit, man. There's no
Right. Absolutely.
No
And that's the
way.
point I'm trying to make here is that, and I, giving Ed the benefit of the doubt that he's not conceiving in his mind that it's possible. But what he's saying is that, well, I just can't, not the average DIYer can't just customize this. Well, that's true for any
Right.
modification. That's why there are custom shops around that will do it for you. So that's my point.
Yeah.
Go to the internet, man. Listen to Boomhauer's advice and just click all
Click,
over
click,
the
click,
place.
click, click. Yeah.
Right, because that's what you're going to have to do. We continue to get these questions on the video that we shot for Wayne Bickley, who had the converted Corvette with one of these in it. And people want to know, well, how did he do it? How many of this? You didn't talk about. Well, of course not. I was interviewing him, not the car. We were just kind of giving the premise of the story, which was the reason why he converted it was not because he wanted to.
Yeah.
It's because he got tired of failing emissions in California, so he converted it over to an all-electric vehicle.
Well, and just to be clear here, Wayne, I don't know his technical skills, but I know that he didn't own a machine shop or an engine rebuilder shop. He did it on his own. He did it at home.
He took out the internal combustion engine out of it, and then just started adding what he needed to make this thing work, and it worked. So Ed, our suggestion is to go to Google and just Google away, my friend. If you want to know how to get this done, or if you want to find people locally that can do it for you, I will guarantee you will find somebody that is doing this near you.
And DIYers don't replace any engine.
No,
that's just not
Not
I mean,
many
you
anymore.
can.
You can. Yeah, if you know
But-
what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is
most
not
of the time not without help.
This is not a 70 model Chevelle where you're just dropping in a small block Chevrolet, which is pretty easy, which you could do in your backyard with a come along strapped across a branch of a tree back there. You could do that back then, but this day and time, it's a different story with modern engines and emission controls and stuff. There's a lot more to it than that. So yes, the average DIYer.
I just had this
get that.
graphic image of like some dude literally with an engine hanging off a tree branch.
But it happens, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
we've all seen stuff like that done in our childhood.
Hey. Our good friend Boomhauer, he's done it. I've seen it.
Well,
I've seen it.
Here. Tell you
Yeah,
what
well-
you do, you just take them dang old spark plugs out in that little hole, you just put a little oil around there, just like Bobby Unser says, it's like it'd go boom, boom, just like that.
just like that.
Perfect fitting. So thank you, Ed, for that. It was a good question, a good comment. I get it. But no fears, my friend. There are people out there that can help you out. And you reach out to us again. And if you tell us where you're at, maybe we can refer you to somebody in your area. We'll do the research for you. So there you go. Be happy to help you out, my friend. So there you go. That, my friends, is the conclusion of our mailbag. Always fun to have you on board. Please keep leaving your comments so you will end up in the bag.
That's nice, Jay.
I love it. Woo-wee. Well, who's that? That's doggies. That's Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Barn, what are we doing next? We have some really good news topics. We may not be able to get to all of them, but our main stories of the day.
Just pick something. You go.
Nikola.
Okay.
Nikola is still around, Keith.
Yep.
Let's talk about Nikola.
I didn't see this one coming, and this is I think it's good for everybody. So surprise Nikola, like that Nikola with Trevor Milton doing the whole like thing, rolling down the hill and saying that they had a working prototype and
Right.
finding out later, and then him being like displaced from the company, and then the GM partnership, which got really hairy for a while, and the Badger pickup truck that I don't know even what ended up with that.
I don't know what happened with that. All I see right now on their site is I looked at a couple of their big rigs.
Yeah,
That's
so I'd kind of written them off, and just out of nowhere, it would almost appear they have not been idle. No pun intended. They have started production on their big rig, and they are going to, well, at this rate, based on what Elon Musk told us about Tesla last month, Nikola has beaten Tesla to production of a big rig.
Right, a battery electric vehicle.
Yep. So
How
they're
about
doing
that,
this
guys?
in Coolidge, Arizona, I guess,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, yes. And in fact, the governor was part of the announcement that they made that they were going to production.
160,000 square foot expansion. They're going to open more in the factory. That's a good sign. In 2023, they're going to expand the factory even more. And they're making trucks.
So, yeah, they are. So, new CEO Mark Russell said it at an event where they revealed that they were going to production. He says they have been in pre-revenue startup for years, where everything we spent we had to raise from investors. Today marks the day when we transition to customer deliveries. We have trucks that we can deliver to customers and get paid for. We're now going to be a revenue-producing company and will be forever, is what the new CEO says.
I mean, this is rising out of the ashes. It was straight up chaos. I literally, Jay, I did not think they were going to. I didn't think they would make it.
Right. So this is the tray, the Nikola tray, TRE. Is what the badged name will be. They have two versions of this. They have a all battery electric, this is the one that we're talking about. But they also have a hydrogen fuel cell version of this as well that they've worked on that hasn't really. They haven't gone forward. Well, they're moving forward with it, but they're not in the market with it yet. And it's very similar. That's very similar to what the Hyundai Exient is, which we also did a video on that.
It's been around a while.
September
I want to say last year. Yeah.
September of 21. We did a video on the Hyundai Hydrogen Wave that was coming, which was the Exient. So Nikola is in this market, and they're coming at a good time. I really do think that this is what that sector of the industry needs, specifically when you're dealing with over-the-road type vehicles, freighters. A lot of these, for the most part, though, guys, are going to be like local type transit type vehicles, say port type vehicles that will be able to sit out there forever. They won't be idling. So it's that whole new addition of a greener port side, if you will. Seattle's adapted it. Even the boats, the ships, the vessels that come in, they can shut their diesel engines down, and they can plug them in and keep them charged. Everybody is working towards that greener port side, and this is part of that.
Now, let's go back to hydrogen for a second.
Yes.
Okay. This I'm gonna say this guy Mark Russell, who is the current CEO of Nikola, I think we're gonna be talking more about him.
I do believe so as well.
Because I don't think you pull something like this off if you aren't worth your salt. Like, this guy is playing on the same level as a Bezos, as a possibly an Elon Musk. I mean, wow, this guy. So he comes from the steel industry, and he is a big believer in hydrogen fuel cells. He is going to push Nikola toward that. He is also, because their stock, Nikola's stock just took off, he is now a billionaire. Made that announcement and bam, right? And
right.
That was penny stock, a little while ago. He's been in the current role, I think, since 2019. And he's older. He was 56 back then. But he is apparently he's driven, and I think he has a law degree, or at some point in his history he was a lawyer. Right. So this guy he's got that drive, he's got that motor.
Yes, he does.
And I think this is not going to be. This is what they needed, man. This is maybe the only way they were going to make it through.
He realizes that that's the only way that through this. You got to start making money, and they've made some changes. I think he says, along with making the battery-powered trays in Arizona, Nikola will also make the truck for European customers starting next year at a production line. It's set up at an Iveco plant in Ulm, Germany, which completely makes sense because Iveco, I think, is actually helping them on the chassis here to some degree, or maybe their cabs. I can't remember what that was, but it says that is a complete reverse of what Nikola's plan was a year ago. They originally thought they might start exporting out of Germany first into the U.S., but as things evolved, they don't think they will have to do that. You don't make money by moving things across the oceans. So there you go. That a testament to him, and your point taken there is that he's got his finger on the pulse of how to attract customers in and how to get bang for buck. And he is absolutely right. If you can build and export rather than build and import, you're going to make a lot more money.
Yeah, I mean, and he is again with that hydrogen appealing to a global market. We'll see, man. But now he is leveraging this company. They have a marketable product that he can then use to help finance the next phase in hydrogen. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think this is a great move on their behalf. So good luck to you guys, Nikola, and thanks for coming back out of the woodwork.
Yeah. So maybe a fitting partner story here, Jay, to this Nikola truck scenario is there is a manufacturer of, I'm not going to do them justice here, but truck axles among other things. And I'm a little fond. I have a certain fondness for these guys. Okay,
right.
This is really cool. Like, this is forward thinking. This is innovative. This is the exemplary of the things that you and I are big fans of that we always talk about. They're pushing the envelope, right?
Indeed.
Okay. So a little known company. It's called SAF Holland. They're a global company. They do have facilities here in the United States. And they're just not the automotive name that you hear in the headlines every week. They're more into heavy load type manufacturing.
Correct.
Right? They are working on an electric axle. Now, oh man, there's so many. Okay, so there's a lot of little cool intricacies to this thing that if even half of them, if it partially comes to fruition, it's going to be a game changer. Right?
Yes, it will be. It will be. And this is why we've talked about the Nikola battery electric vehicle.
Yeah.
And so pay attention here, folks.
Okay. So First of all, now there's an environmental aspect to this. You may care, you may not care, but I will say this: you can't have your cake and eat it too. So for those of you that are out there posting your memes of the lithium mines, talking about how battery electric vehicles are harming the planet, when someone makes an attempt to be conscious of that, it would be wise of you to embrace that so that we basically take a step in the right direction from a sustainability standpoint. So
good point.
They're saying that these axles are rare earth free. Okay. So what that means in layman's terms that I understood, correct me here, Jay, is they're not doing as much damage to the planet by mining that you would from something that isn't rare earth free, right?
Absolutely correct. That is absolutely 100% correct. They're conscious of the environment in building this next generation trailer, with in mind that is the direction that the industry is moving.
Yeah. To
battery electric. With the Tesla semi.
Yeah.
The Nikola Tre. All this fits right into the pocket.
Yeah, but they didn't stop there. They didn't say we're just going to do, an electric axle that will work with these battery electric trucks. They said, well,
right.
what's the whole reason behind this? Let's think another couple steps down the road, and let's build it to reflect those needs too. So the sustainability thing, if I can get that word out, is a cool part of it. Now this is called it's a concept right now. It's called the Tracker, TRAKR. Okay, I think I'm saying that right.
You are, yes.
It has a recuperative aspect to it. So if you think about a Tesla, there's different levels of regenerative mode that you can turn on. Basically, the higher you set that, the more assisted braking it does. You can feel it. It slows you down faster, and it recovers energy through the axles. So they're putting that on this as well. And here's where that gets really interesting, because they're envisioning this being used in refrigeration trucks and things that need power. Okay.
Yes.
Well, to prevent pulling that power off of the actual truck itself, meaning, that those trucks are probably going to be battery powered, they're building a generator system and a recovery system in the trailer so it can at least partially sustain itself.
Right. Which is very similar to some of the things that Airstream has done. They're working on their Airstream EV trailers, and then also Living Vehicles Pro EV. We did a video on both of those guys. Both of them in 2021. The Airstream EV trailer was in March of 2021, and then the Living Vehicles Pro EV was in October of 21. So go check those out over on our youtube.com /Parts County Gurus for those videos. So this is where this all kind of plays in. So the refrigerated units, for those of you want to know how important this is specifically for that, is refrigeration is key to success in obviously refrigerated goods, keeping goods cold.
Groceries.
How do you do that? You have to have a constantly running
beer
refrigeration.
Let's just get right to the heart of the matter here, okay?
Yeah. Well, hey, Bert carried some beer across country. Didn't
I hate to say I told you so.
There you go. Right.
There you go.
Coors,
so,
if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So these reefer units, they are small diesel engines. Most of them,
it's a generator. Yeah.
Right. If you go look at a refrigerated truck right now on the front of that trailer, or refrigerated trailer, I should say. If you look on the front of that trailer, you'll see mounted on the very top side of that, you'll see the words Thermo King.
And
Thermo
it's a
King
rectangular.
Right. They are it's a very small diesel generator that just continuously runs.
Yeah.
Continuously runs. So this in itself, for the environment's sake, this is a huge step in the right direction, eliminating some of that stuff.
And it's quieter.
It's
right?
much quieter.
So
can you imagine, hey, speaking of quieter, can you imagine being a truck driver that you have to go sleep, right? And then you don't have this thing just running.
What are you going to do? Like that's what I love about our RV is when I'm running the generator, it kind of that white noise, man.
That white noise, yeah. So that might actually drive some people crazy. Unless of course, there's an app for that. So there you go.
Yeah. So now
apps.
this is a partnership. The generator portion is being done by a company called AEM, which I think stands for Advanced Electric Machines.
That's correct.
And let's see, this product that we're talking about that's basically the electric generator is AEM's HDS MR 150. So they're figuring out a way to make these things work together. Basically, the truck axles are going to transfer power to a temporary battery, probably lithium, and then it will store that battery, and the generator itself will either pull power off of that or put power back on it.
Yes.
All for the intent of refrigeration, or if, it's not limited to just refrigeration, but that's a good application.
I would have loved to have been in the meeting when SAF approached AEM, because Keith and I, there had to be some excitement in the room, because these guys, they were founded in 2017. Mm-hmm. They established a multidisciplinary team with world-class expertise in design and manufacture. The CEO's name is James Widmer, and CTO is Andy Steven. Their vision is to design and build the world's most sustainable electric motors for the global automotive and transport industries to ensure sustainable, efficient, and cost-effective solutions. Holy cow!
They pull this off. They're a leader in the transportation business.
Absolutely.
Right?
That is why I said if I am in that meeting
for the next decade.
I would be like, this is huge.
Yeah.
Because this is the direction we're going. But most importantly here is that SAF Holland had the mind to realize we need to go to somebody who specializes in this to partner with them. And that is, again, what some of your auto manufacturers have done with some of their onboard technology. Instead of them trying to create it, they're going to go harness the technology from someone who's already developing this stuff. So it makes sense.
I'll say this in closing on this subject. I think the thing that you're not saying that we both recognize is there is a certain mindset right now in the automotive industry that hates EVs.
Yes.
And they are willing to, they just want them to go away. And they think they're stupid, and they think that it's a bunch of hype, and they may be right. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know that they're necessarily greener. Okay, when you consider what are you going to do with the batteries, what are you going to do? Where does your electricity come from? All those things. I don't know. I'm not an expert on all that. But here's what I do know: they're not going away. It's been mandated in a lot of countries and in a lot of states here in the United States that we are going in that direction. The automotive manufacturers themselves have said we will be all electric by, in GM's case, it was 2030 or 2035?
2035, yeah.
So this is not something that you can argue away at this point. It is the equivalent of sticking your head back in the sand, and I just think that's a mistake. And we see a lot of that. We see that in groups where they just basically... They're threatened. I get it. Their industry is threatened, but you have to adapt. If you don't adapt, you're going to die. And what they have done here is they've looked at the landscape, and they've said, how do we stay relevant for the next 10 years? And this is one of those potential opportunities that they have found.
This is it. I hats off to these guys for doing this. Then next thing you know, there's going to be people coming out of the woodwork. They're going to there'll be more startup companies that are doing the same thing. People talk about this stealing your jobs. That's not happening. Jobs are not getting stolen. Jobs are getting created. It's people being innovative and changing with the times. You have to do that to be relevant, and this is the finest example of that. And so hats off to these guys, no doubt about it.
And you guys at Hall, look, hey, when you get more information, if you want to do some sort of we're happy to put you on, and we can talk in detail when you can share more information, because this is fascinating. And I think
it is fascinating. So
we're not the only two people here that think that.
Absolutely. So good luck with that, guys. Wow. Do we have time for one more, or do we need to wrap it up?
Yep, okay. I know what it is. Let's get to it, man.
Let's get on it, guys. Welcome into the yes, there is a Ford F-150 Lightning coming. Wow. There was a recent open house at Blue Oval City, which was somewhere up in Michigan.
Yeah, it's it's that historic plant that I can't think of right now, but it's the one that they just renovated and.
Yeah, it's the Rouge Complex.
Rouge. There you go.
In Michigan, they call it the Electric Vehicle Center, not the Blue Oval Center. The Blue Oval Center is going to be the one in Tennessee. That's
right.
The big one. We're going to be pumping out more of these babies. But during a kind of an open house event that we spoke of on the last podcast that occurred. CEO Jim Farley made a huge announcement and basically said that the Ford F-150 Lightning has now moved into full production.
Okay.
So for my son, my son, real quick, check your email.
All right. So for those of you keeping score, okay, Nicola was first, or no, not Nicola. Sorry.
Lordstown?
No, sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. No, wasn't those guys.
Oh, man, I can't believe I just did that.
Tesla?
No.
Jesus.
It was Rivian.
Oh,
it was
Rivian. That's right. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Now, Ford, we're talking production here. Going into production, Ford will be second of the big manufacturers. I'm not talking about the 5 off, 10 off, right?
Right.
Consumer truck, battery electric vehicle.
Absolutely. This is it.
GM going to get number 3? When are they going into production?
The Hummer EV is already in.
See, that's such a gray area, though.
No,
it's not a truck.
Right. They're kind of pre-production vehicles that are going on.
Yeah.
They're not in full production yet. They've got some plant modifications to make. They're going to need to increase some capacities and stuff like that. But I do think that they will be next. I don't think Tesla's going to be before GM. I think this is how it's going to roll down. Rivian was first. Ford has now gone into production, and I do think that GM will be next, albeit it won't be next month maybe, but it's coming.
Yeah.
But then I do believe that I think you'll see Tesla moving into the picture here.
So here's the real question: Who's going to is Tesla going to beat Stellantis? Right.
Ooh, that is a good question. That's another one because they did. Stellantis announced that Ram EV as well.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. As much as we love some of the things that Elon Musk did, he started this whole thing, right?
Yes, he did. He did. This is, again,
he's bookending himself here by being the first guy to announce a truck and the last guy to show up with one that you can buy. So I hope that isn't the case.
He's out there saying, man, these guys, we got enough electric pickup trucks. I'll just take my time, refine it. I'm just going to go buy Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing,
Yeah.
He's making money elsewhere, but I think this is a huge development for Ford, especially the black eye that they have because of the Bronco debacles that occurred. And again, not all that stuff was on them. They had supplier chain issues and still continue to have it. Now they're having engine failure issues with the 2.7.
They seem to be more prevalent than we originally thought.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is. So keep your eye on recalls on that. But here's the bigger news out of this whole thing. While Ford is going to full production or has gone full production on the Ford F-150 all-electric Lightning,
yep.
We mentioned to you in our last podcast in a recent video that we released on our last end of April, we put it out. It was a patent for a tank turn mode of some sort that Keith and I were scratching our heads just thinking, well, I don't think that it's going to be for potentially specifically for the F-150 Lightning. Maybe, but it's an F-150 Lightning. What is it? Would it be a new model coming out or something? I mentioned there could be like an FX4 off-road version of the F-150 Lightning, but CEO Jim Farley just announced that there will be another full-size Ford all-electric pickup truck coming. And it's a big deal. We don't have any other details other than it will be a full-size model.
All right, so let's speculate for just a minute. So, and he did say, if I'm not mistaken, that the second one is going to be made at that Blue Oval complex in Tennessee.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Man, dare I be a smartass here and say people are losing their jobs over these electric vehicles?
Right. Look, how can they be? Look, I mean, look, they're forecasting the production target for them. Their target is 600,000 battery electric vehicles per year globally by the end of 2023. Somebody's making those things.
Okay. All right. Kidding aside, this is what we know. Welcome your comments. If you're watching this on the YouTube side, let us know what you think. Might be worthy of a revisit soon. So I'm going to give you the specifics from the horse's mouth. This is what Farley himself has told us. It will be a pickup. To me, that means a truck with a bed. Okay.
Correct.
So technically, and I'm a little bit of a purist on this. You haters are going to call me out. I don't consider the Hummer EV a pickup. GM kind of tried to position it as one to say we've got an electric pickup too. It's really not. It's great. It looks amazing. I don't have anything against it. I just don't want to put it in the truck class. Their Silverado EV, their Silverado EV is the truck. You want to go look at how big that Hummer EV is? We did a video on with it,
right? From SEMA,
right there,
yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So he says it's going to be a pickup. Okay, well they already have a pickup. They have a F-150 that's very capable. What possible reason could they have for wanting another pickup in it, like another vehicle in that same category, in that same class? Well, he said it's going to be a brand new platform.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be like an F-150 Lightning with like a Suburban shell on it or something like that. It's going to be a new platform, right? It'll be a full size. So those of you that went, oh, well, he's just going to do a mini version, right? Like he's just going to do like a Maverick EV. Nope, he says it's going to be full size platform. To me, that means F-150 or bigger, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm kind of leaning you down, but then the last
Raptor?
one threw me off. He said incredibly high volume. I mean, there's not that. They don't make that many Raptors, do they? I mean,
no, they don't. But what it could be is a fleet vehicle of some sort.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this could be a vehicle specifically for fleets. Maybe they have a contract that they haven't revealed yet with, say, some sort of government agency of some sort or municipalities.
Postal Service.
Postal Service?
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. Yeah, so, but who knows? I mean, this is a great move on their behalf to kind of reveal that, to keep you interested. But the fact that they have a patent for a tank turn.
Yeah, but you don't use tank turn in fleet vehicles, right?
Nope, you don't. But I do believe that an off-road vehicle version of some sort is what's going to be coming, because you had the Hummer, you got you see what it's designed for. You have the Rivian, where they focus solely on off-road stuff, right? They have the camp kitchen in that, all that stuff. They got the tank turn on that, which isn't working yet. It's still to come. I just think that that's what it's going to be. I could be wrong. It's either going to be something big like an FX4 style package, or it's going to be construction fleet type vehicles with some built-in technology, which we said could be coming or would be coming, especially with some of the hybrid vehicles, the hybrid F-150s that they've got out there with those packages. This is exciting for Ford, man.
So
what do you think?
Let's take this a step further. Okay. Let's pursue the off-road variant, right? It's like, in the spirit of a Rivian, or not that you can't do that with an F-150 Lightning, but I think we're talking about a purpose-built overland vehicle, more like a Bronco, but an electric, right?
Yes.
And maybe it has elements of what the Bronco has, but it has a pickup bed in the back, okay?
Right.
What do we call it? Ooh. This is what we do here, everybody. Like, we come up with these crazy... one day we're going to do a coffee table book on all the vehicles.
So the Ford Raptor. The Ford Raptor, right, is their now gasoline version of an off-road, extreme off-road Ford vehicle truck. Right. Let's call it the E-Rex.
The E-Rex. I like it. Yeah.
I don't know,
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The Ford E-Rex.
E-Rex would be good. It
What do you
can't
got?
be like E-Raptor. That's where
No.
that's kind of a cop out.
Right. Yeah.
I was going down the road, and it's probably because of the GM stuff we were doing last week of like, you got the Illuminator crate motor, so I'm thinking light, right? Like light, like visual.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so what in nature occurs? Because Ford likes like animals, right? Like, Mustang being, Cobra, right? Like just all,
Sure.
Bronco, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, then I'm like, what in nature occurs that has luminescence?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to work this angle. I'm thinking Firefly. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
Firefly?
but the Firefly's already been done. I think that was like a Pontiac, small like Sunbird Firefly back in the 80s. A terrible vehicle, man. So I
Okay.
don't think they can take
All right.
fire.
You
I mean,
can't do
they
that.
might. I don't know. But I'm thinking, how about Galaxy?
Ooh, because my first vehicle was a Galaxy. Now you know one of the 3 security questions to my bank account, Jay.
Oh man,
Oh
remind me
man,
never
that
to-
thing was a 1970 like giant gunboat in
Yeah,
turd brown.
yeah.
Galaxy. Well, why not, right? They did it with the Maverick. That was a car in a previous generation, and they turned it into a truck.
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Huh. All right. There you go, everybody.
Yeah. Have fun with that one.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay, man. Wow. What a great action-packed, full of information show we've had today. Thank you guys for entertaining us. We're glad to entertain you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure you tell people to subscribe. Go to partscounterguru.com. Find all the podcast links. Make sure you remember, too, that you can help us out a little bit by doing a little shopping through Amazon. On our homepage of our website at partscounterguru.com, you'll see a Amazon icon up there. Just if you're ready to shop and buy something, just hit that. It takes you right over, and you just sign right into your account. We don't know anything about all of that. It's just a hand-holding situation where we lead you into the front door of Amazon, and whatever you purchase, as long as you put it in your shopping cart and buy it within 24 hours, I think Keith and I get a little bit of love for that, and every little bit helps. So appreciate that. If you've done that in the past, thank you so much. Continue to do it. Any video segment, like we said, that may come from this will be over on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/partscounterguru. Make sure you're subscribed. If not, get subscribed and ring that bell for notifications. Also, we're over on social medias at facebook.com/partscountergurus. We're at instagram.com, which is the Parts Counter Gurus. We're on Twitter. Our handle on Twitter is at the Counter Show. And we got a few little fun things coming around called audio bursts that we're going to be dropping a little segments here and there, just so you guys can get a little taster of what might be coming down the pike or from this particular show. And if you like that, it might interest you enough to clicking in, watching, or listening to the whole thing. So thanks very much for all of that. Keith, man, it's always good to be with you on the show. I love every minute of it. My therapy session is now over.
Almost.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to making something out of myself for the remainder of the week.
So before we get on with that, I've got one from FDR. Now, if you're not sure if you need something inspirational, Jay, dead presidents are typically a good place to look.
Pretty much. For many reasons.
And that money, right? Like what he's on,
Yeah.
the dime though. So that's not as
I think so. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the huge payoff that you would get off of a
Right.
Yeah, anyway, the other
I get it.
Roosevelt,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah,
right?
the
Well,
other- yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt's on something too, right? Isn't he on like a
He's like a 50 or something.
50?
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Wow,
so.
he got the FDR got the raw end of the deal, getting the 10 cent, man. Okay, so I mean,
Yes.
I think you would. Well, I don't know though. You're more now. I've wandered off down a rabbit hole, but do you want to be on a higher denomination if you have your choice, or do you want to be on one that's more frequently seen?
I want one that's on. I don't necessarily need a higher denomination. I want to be on one that's been seen.
Yeah, like a dollar bill or 10.
Yeah, I
or
mean
20.
George Washington, man. He's.
Yeah,
I mean the founder of our.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there you go.
number one for a reason.
Yeah. Ulysses S. Grant, by the way,
Is the 50? Okay.
Is the 50?
Yeah.
Ben Franklin obviously is on.
Not a
on the
president
100.
on the 100.
Thomas
yep.
Jefferson on the $2 bill. Abraham Lincoln on the 5. We knew that. Alexander Hamilton.
And the penny. So Lincoln
10.
got both.
Yeah, penny on. Yeah. Look at that. President Jefferson, Roosevelt is on the dime, like you said.
Yeah.
JFK on the $50. Sacagawea on and her infant son, John the Baptiste, on the dollar coin. There you go.
Dollar
There's
coin.
your
Yeah,
little-
knew that.
little
All
lesson.
right. So FDR, Mr. 10 Cent, said it's not sufficient just to want. You've got to ask yourself. I almost said ask yourself. Let me. Now you've okay. All right, everybody. Here we go. It's not sufficient just to want. You've got to ask yourself, what are you going to do to get the things you want?
I know what I'm going to do, Keith. What about you, buddy?
I'm going to dinner. For my pal Jay over there, I'm Keith. We will see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.